Hello, everybody. Baron Bananas once again. So, as you can see, we are back to Katawa Shoujo today. Now, it's been a little bit since we played this. I think it was Sunday? Maybe? Yeah, I think it was Sunday was the last we played. So, it's been a little while. That's okay. Right, so, what happened the last time we had left off? That's actually a good question. Let me just ever so briefly peek on my Twitter. Okay. Alright, so. What happened the last time we ended up playing this? Well, we checked in on Hanako with Lily after Hanako's panic attack in the middle of class. And, yeah, it was pretty heavy stuff. She had very obviously been crying, not having a good time, obviously. She was just kind of trying to... She was keeping to herself, more or less barely responding. It wasn't great. She very obviously was feeling awful, and we felt awful in turn, seeing her like that, and also figuring we're partially responsible for having that happen to her that day. And the day had actually started off really well for her, too. Then after that, we ended up having... It was like a day or two after that. Hanako was much better, and we were celebrating her birthday party. Had a good time, gave her a chess set, Lily gave her a doll. Lily's sister Akira showed up and got us drunk. Most especially Hanako. We ended up having to take her back to her room, where she was more or less kind of trying to throw herself onto us. But we noped out of there real fast because, yeah, we felt this is just wrong. Like, this is just so wrong. Which, hey, good on Hisao. He knows not to take advantage of someone who's clearly not thinking straight. Then after that, I think it was just more normal hangout stuff. I can't remember the specifics of what happened, but that was more or less. It was after her panic attack, and then her entire birthday. So, loading up next, we're apparently out on the town. This should be actually Lily's semi-goodbye party. I mean, Hanako's birthday was also supposed to be that. Excuse me. Was also supposed to be that, but I guess we're going to do something a little more. So let's load it up and get right back into it. The feeling of walking through the streets is one of very deep nostalgia. While Yamaku may be like the reverse of where I lived in the past, the city at night is amazingly familiar. My eyes are moving constantly from the bright electronic screens glowing high in the night sky, to the street lamps piercing the darkness with their light, to the businessmen enjoying themselves after work, and the busily talking couples on dates. Holy shit. First freaking line, and I've already screwed it up multiple times, and wow. Wow, that is a sentence. Even if I didn't want to, I can't help soaking in every aspect of the city. I savor its familiarity like a sweet candy sitting on my tongue. Lily is walking to my left with her cane swaying to and fro, holding onto her sister's arm for guidance while talking to her. compared to traveling by taxi or bus, being driven by Akira in her rather nice car was a much more enjoyable experience. Maybe not for the person on my right, though. While Lily was used to her sister's driving style, and I quite like a bit of excitement, Hanako was holding very tightly to the door for most of the trip. Alright, so Kira's a bit of a speed demon. Everything looks so pretty at night. Hanako quickly looks down yet again as she accidentally catches someone's gaze. Yeah, it does. My answer isn't very thoughtful, since I'm distracted by so many thoughts that I find it hard to keep up on small talk. One of those distractions, aside from the city's sights, is how Hanako looks. And this is the first time I've ever seen her in something other than her school uniform or her pajamas. It gave me pause when I first saw her outfit when we met up at the school gate. Considering how much her head is lowered when people walk near us, I imagine the hat she wears is more than a fashion statement. While initially I was wary of Lily's plan to take us out into the city, when night fell, it became obvious she had thought about this. Not many people have paid Hanako much heed, since the darkness hides her scarring well. So, we're in the city. Any ideas on what to do? Akira beams a smile. Something tells me that she's the one who's making this particular decision, even if her sister may have proposed the outing in the first place. You'll see. Just follow us. I nod and try my best to stifle a grimace. After what happened during Hanako's birthday party, I don't trust Akira's judgment all that well. Don't want to get crunk again? We keep walking, and I notice that we're passing more and more cafes, restaurants, and other eateries. Every once in a while, a drunken man in a suit comes out of a bar, usually being supported by another. But for the most part, the customers around this part of the city look young and fashionable. Different kinds of music come and go as we pass by each business. The discord created by the overlap should be grating, but it reminds me so strongly of the times I spent in the city with my old friends that I don't mind. Hanako and I have started to drift a little apart from Lily and Akira. That comes to a stop when I hear a soft thud from beside me. Sorry. By the time she rights herself from her apologetic bow, the middle-aged businessman she bumped into is walking away after mumbling a half-hearted apology. Hanako looks a little put off by the experience, and as she quickly skips ahead to match my pace, I notice her head hanging low once more. She probably bumped into him because she was looking downwards and not where she was going. Yeah, that's her thing. She's a big ball of anxiety. She doesn't want people to really see her. I step to the side a little and put one hand on her far shoulder, drawing her closer. Hisao? It's okay. You can walk closer to me if you want. Hanako hesitates, but eventually nods in assent. After a couple of times, when I thought we'd arrived at Akira's destination, we reach our target. By now, we're below the elevated walkways and past most of the garish and brightly lit places. Wow, that was a little loud even for me. I'm a bit surprised. The average age of those around us is distinctly older, and the smell of cigarette smoke is pretty thick. The area is far from seedy, though, and it's a little amusing to see Lily's reaction to the smell of the smoke. Oh gosh. cigarette smoke bothers, you know, me, I can only imagine Lily's, like, really hating it. She's probably got, you know, obvious, because she doesn't have sight, she's probably got slightly better, you know, smell. Smell things just that tad bit better, feel things, taste things, hear things. I mean, you know, the whole hearing thing was something that was brought up in her route a lot, and a little bit in this one. I mean, that is a thing. You lose one sense, the other senses will heighten just that bit more to try and compensate. It's not Daredevil levels where, oh no, I'm blind, therefore I can hear everything. Smell everything. No, it is not that. It is not to that extreme. While it's masked by the low talking of those around us, jazz music can be heard emanating from inside. Looking up at the dimly lit sign, it becomes obvious why. A jazz club. I have to admit, this isn't what I expected. Lily gives an amused snort and a smile. Somehow, I feel like I should have known it, Akira. As we talk outside, I notice more and more odd sideways glances directed our way. People awkwardly catch themselves staring and look away, but that just makes it more obvious. I had noticed this occasionally when we were walking, but it's more pronounced now. I've never experienced anything like that in my life. An average-looking Japanese teenage guy, just a little taller than normal, isn't the type to draw attention without making an effort. Hey, come on. Just because you're teenagers doesn't mean you can't have a taste, right? Kira, you're a bad influence. Stop giving us wine and taking us to adult-only places. Especially when one of us is, you know, Hanako. Well, I don't mind the music, if that's what you mean. I don't mind it either. She's only just managing to force the words out. It contrasts heavily to when we were alone in Yamaku, and it disappoints me a little that she's so highly strung in what's supposed to be a good time out on the town. She can't help it, dude! It's hard to read Hanako's face as she keeps looking downwards. It's little wonder if she doesn't often come out into the city because of this. And it makes me a little thankful that my own scarring is easily hidden. Sorry, I'm still kind of waking up, so my eyes are kind of bugging out. Come on, damn it. Lily has a similar way of attracting people's gazes, but the reason for it is clearly different. She hardly looks like a native, and the same can be said for her sister. That much is far more noticeable than her blindness from a distance. She may not be able to see this for herself, but I have little doubt she can hear the odd whispered phrase from people who think they're out of earshot. Be that as it may, she doesn't seem to show any sign of either annoyance or pleasure at the attention. Akira is still as confident as ever, though. Flashing a smile, she strides in with Lily by her side and the two of us following behind. I had expected my eyes to need adjusting to the light inside, but it's not much brighter than outside. The music we'd heard is clearer now, mixed in with the sound of glasses moving on the tables and counter, and the husky chatter of the patrons. Looking to my right reveals the music's source, a jazz group playing behind some tables. patrons seem to be mostly men, and though there's a handful of women, nobody looks under 30. Aside from us, of course. Which reminds me of the ghost ballroom scene in Anastasia. Yeah, I can see it, yeah. Man, it's been forever since I've seen that movie. I think I was, like, maybe 9 when I last saw it? Also, hey Jen, how's it going? Feels like we've stepped into the 1920s, and the atmosphere is quite agreeable. I'm not completely comfortable simply because of my age, but were I older, I would probably feel quite at home. It's got some bangers. I also haven't seen it since I was 9 or so. Yeah, it's the one movie everyone keeps calling a Disney movie, even though it wasn't a Disney movie. Good. Finally stopped raining here, so might head out for the dog park, though. Okay, that's fine. You do you. Yeah, they did buy Fox and everything that came with it, which included Anastasia. So now, you know, that's just gonna continue on. Okay, well, maybe now, technically, she could be considered a Disney princess? I don't know. That is neither here nor there. It's just nice to know, back in the day, we were watching a movie about, the lost Russian princess. The lost Russian princess going through Soviet Russia to get to France. And yes, real-life princess. She was, in fact, a real princess. Now I've just got Christopher Lloyd in my head. Oh yeah, it's a great movie. I'll have to watch it again sometime. Hanako seems a bit more relaxed now, probably due to nobody looking at her. Everybody's talking between themselves, drinking, or watching the band. Kira casually takes a seat at the counter without even glancing around. She's probably come here before. Lily retracts her cane, feeling out the bar stool and the edge of the counter before taking a seat beside her sister. The bartender takes a brief break from polishing a glass to watch her before putting it down and coming over. Good evening, ladies. What'll it be? Just a scotch, thanks. Lily? She's trying to order Chardonnay. Oh, champagne, sorry. Lily, you're still underage, damn it. You're still only 18. Don't try to pull this. May I have a glass of champagne? A black-suited elbow hits her side sharply. Orange juice, please. No problem. Coming right up. Bartender starts to pour their drinks. A couple of seconds pass before Akira suddenly remembers that Hanako and I are indeed here and turns around to us. You two want anything, or are you just gonna stand there? Hanako seems to be getting a bit restless. No matter where we're gonna seat ourselves, there's gonna be people right next to her. And I don't think she looks convincingly older than 20, unlike Lily. Looking around, there's a game section to our right. A couple of billiards tables can be seen in the corner, and nobody's using them either. I glance to Hanako, about to ask her if she'd like to play, but she's already looking longingly in the same direction. Maybe it says something that we can get by with so few words nowadays. We'll go play pool over there. Akira leans back to see past me before shrugging and sitting back down. Sitting back up. What? Words! And sitting back up. My God. Mouth moves faster than my brain. It seems you have to put up with only me for company. How unfortunate. Have fun, you two. We turned and set off for the abandoned corner, with Hanako taking the lead. The prospect of a nice quiet game away from everyone makes her walk noticeably faster. Her eyes stay firmly fixed on her prize. The table's full size and well lit despite the surrounding darkness, thanks to the bright overhead lights. A huge painting of something covers the wall. There aren't many people milling about this corner of the club, and I can see Hanako becoming a little less tense as a result. You know how to play? I'm no expert, but yeah, I do. Then, 8-ball? Sure. Hanako gets the chalk and 2 cues from a set of hooks against one of the walls, while I fetch the balls from the table's pockets and grab the rack from a shelf underneath. She patiently waits as I get the table set up. After slotting the final ball into the rack and doing some last adjustments, I end up having to fight my perfectionist urges into getting the bottom row of balls exactly perpendicular with the edges. Yeah, it's a struggle. It needs to be perfect. It cannot be just at that slight angle. No, it must be perfect. With the balls arranged and ready for play, I step back and take my cue from her outstretched arm. I carry out a quick inspection of the tip before I'm satisfied that it's in good condition. So you've played before? Once or twice. I just kind of know the rules. The air between us feels a little awkward. She's still pretty nervous, understandably, given that we're in public. Eventually, the silence becomes too much even for Hanako, and she begins to quietly stammer. Who'll break? I think for a moment before reaching into my pocket and drawing a coin. I'll take heads, your tails. After a nod of agreement from Hanako, I flick the coin up in the air, catch it, and flip it over onto the back of my left hand. Looks like it's you that gets to break. Hanako nods again, before taking up her position at the end of the table. She's not usually this quiet around me, but I'm not wholly sure if it's because of the tidbit of information about her past that slipped out moments ago. Huh. Yeesh. Even just saying that, yeah, I know the rules to pool would set her off. Wow. Yeah. She has got a lot going on, which is really sad. You never want to see someone like that. The cue comes back in a practiced gesture before smacking dead into the center of the cue ball with a thud. The white ball skates across the smooth green expanse before smashing into the carefully arranged balls at the other end. Balls skitter across the table at high speed. The break was good, with the balls being nicely distributed around the table. My eyes are already flicking from one to another to pick out the easiest candidates to pocket. Hanako retreats from the side, and I take my shot. Well done. It's only after Hanako says this that I realize the ball I was shooting at was sunk. I look at her and notice a small smile on her face. It's nice how playing games seems to loosen her up a little. I guess I'm stripes then. I take a step back and let her take the next shot, but she doesn't advance to the table. Rather, she looks down a little and rubs her arm. Dude, you sunk the ball. That means you keep going. It's not her turn. It's still your turn. Do you not know pool? Unless I'm just wrong. I could very well be wrong. I barely play pool. By now, I can identify this as one of her gestures that means she wants to say something, but isn't sure enough of herself to do it. What's up? It's just... you had a... nice smile. Do you like... playing this? I sigh and lean back against the table. I like playing, yeah. And I think I was smiling because it's really nostalgic, though. Hanako tilts her head quizzically. Me and my friends used to play pool in the game centers near where we lived pretty often, and at night too. Wouldn't your parents... My parents both worked, so they didn't mind me not being in the house. I stayed on top of my schoolwork pretty easily as well, so there was plenty of time to do other stuff at night. Our conversation dies down, with Hanako's timidity. That is a weird word. Timidity? I'm gonna go timidity. I think I was omitting the third I for some reason. Our conversation dies down with Hanako's timidity getting the better of her. In response, I get off the table and let her take her turn shooting. There aren't many solids in easy positions, so Hanako bends down and takes a while to line herself up properly. Hanako's expression is the same as when we play chess. A relaxed but focused concentration. Athletes sometimes talk about getting into the zone where nothing unnecessary enters their mind, and I wonder if that's something she can do. Her posture is good. Better than mine, to be sure. It's very close to a textbook method of playing, whereas I tend to contort myself into whatever position I feel is most natural for the shot I'm taking. Yeah, let me just, shoot like that. Totally comfortable. Now my back feels weird because I did that. She lines up the cue. The cue comes back, and she does a couple of practice movements to make sure she's lined up correctly. Hanako takes games so seriously. It's the only real hobby I know she has, outside of reading. It feels good to be able to share this kind of experience with her. She takes the shot after careful consideration, and the cue ball zooms off toward a ball sitting at a slightly awkward angle near a corner. Hanako's careful preparation pays off as the cue ball hits and sends the ball rolling toward the corner pocket. For a moment, it looks like it'll stop just on the lip of the hole, but it eventually tilts just enough to drop in. Man, that was a hard shot. If you can pull that off, I don't think I have much hope. I'm not that good. It's not just the shot, though. Even when lining it up, you look really serious. You're like this with chess, too. The praise makes her a little flustered. She sets the cue against the table and stands, turning to me. I just like those kinds of things. Her fingers are twisting and turning tightly. Oh, now we're getting sad stuff. When I was in the orphanage, I just kept doing the things I liked before. If I played games with the others, that was enough for the helpers there, so... I never thought about it that way. Staff at an orphanage would naturally want to have everyone socialize at least a little. If it's okay for me to ask, what was it like for you at the orphanage? Why do you want to know? I've touched a nerve, but the fact that she responded at all shows there's at least a chance she'll answer my question. Before, she likely would have just shrunk away from it without a word. I'll tell you, but... Could you tell me who Hanako is? She wants to know about Hanako. Wonderful. So that's the trade-off. She tells me about her time in the orphanage. I tell her about the girl that made me have a heart attack. Hanako? Oh, the letter. Wonder how long she's been waiting for the right opportunity to ask me this. I'm surprised, but don't hesitate. Sharing information is naturally a matter of give and take. She's someone I used to like. Her nervousness subsided, at least for the time it took to ask. Ugh. Her curiosity is getting the better of her, and I feel a bit uncomfortable to be questioned on this, of all matters. There's no way I could spill out all my feelings about Hanako here. I don't even know myself what my feelings regarding her are, even after talking to Yuko earlier, and I want to avoid the subject around Hanako. Hanako doesn't look overly satisfied with the awkward ending to the discussion, but thinks better of continuing it. She was only just managing to ask me in the first place, without knowing that I wouldn't want to talk about it. I move to finally take my own shot. The lack of talking between us is filled by the chatter of other patrons and the band at the other end of the club. Spying a shot that doesn't look too difficult, I try and shoot for it. The cue ball taps the ball, and the trajectory is about right, but I put in too much power. It graces the corner of the hole and moves off to the side, just skirting the pocket. I grit my teeth a little. I was pretty good at this game. It's frustrating to have deteriorated so much. I step back and let Hanako take her turn, glancing toward the counter where Lily and Akira are sitting. They're talking busily between themselves and seem to be having a good time. I turn back to Hanako as she takes her shot. With the same face as before, she lines herself up and sharply pushes the cue. Just as before, she sinks the ball she was aiming for. It drops into the side pocket, more cleanly than her last, though. It looks as if she's getting a bit more into the groove of the game. Nicely done. She hesitates for a moment and begins to address me without turning her head. The orphanage was nice. It felt a bit like Yamaku does. And the staff was really kind. But as the years went on, I realized something. I was different. Feels strange to hear her speak so candidly about herself. She's audibly forcing the words out. It reminds me of when she insisted she tell me about the fire. Hanako must feel she has to tell me of such things if I'm willing to tell her about my own past. Her grip on the cue tightens as she continues to speak. Most of the children there were up for adoption, just like I was. But unlike me, they gradually left, one by one. By the time I went to Yamaku, I was among the oldest children there. Aww. So she's just she's still a ward of the state. Oh my god. Stop making me feel things for fictional characters. For a while, I helped with some of the younger children, but eventually... I lay a hand on her shoulder. She's forcing herself by now. It's okay. She looks mildly surprised for a moment, and then nods before setting down her cue and turning towards me. Do you really think so? Yeah, I think so. Even while Lily's away, I'll be around to protect you, right? Hanako looks at me for a long time, and I'm taken a bit off guard. Her expression hasn't changed from before, still looking somewhat maudlin, and silences between us aren't unusual. I think it's the fact that she's holding such prolonged eye contact that makes this feel a bit odd. Feels as if she's judging me. It's a very strange, vaguely uncomfortable feeling. Hanako? I understand. Thank you. She smiles and looks away a little, but it still feels stilted. Hanako isn't very good at faking emotions, and this is no exception. I move to the table and take my turn to try and distract myself, but it doesn't seem to work. Does she think I'm not up to the task of helping her? Is she disappointed in me? I'm probably overthinking this. While her silences are just an accepted fact of life by now, sometimes I do wish she'd speak more. With a thud, I send the white sphere careening down the table into my target. Hanako sees what's happening just as I do. The ball hits hard, with the striped ball I'd intended to sink, veering off toward the 8-ball. Sure enough, as Hanako and I look on and bite our lips, they connect and the black ball rolls leisurely into a corner pocket. Good job, bro, you lost the game. As did all of you. All I can do is sigh. Looks like Hanako is smiling again, though, so maybe it wasn't for naught. That was an awful shot. You win. Seems like I'm getting pretty rusty after all this time. Yes, blame the rust. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it's not my fault. I'm just out of practice. Hanako bends down and begins to shoot the remaining balls into the closest pockets. I almost asked we could play another game, but a quick check of my watch confirms the night is getting pretty late. Lily and Akira appear to be still drinking at the counter. Seems like we'll have to drag them away. Hisao. I turn back to Hanako, who's still looking over the pool table shooting balls. Her voice sounds different from before. I'm here for you as well. I suddenly find myself blushing. It's only natural that she would respond this way, given what I said earlier, but it's still a shock to actually hear it. Just what is my relationship with this girl? I want to protect her, to make her happy. I'm not really sure that it's something like love. I don't think these are the same kind of feelings I have for Lily either. I feel sorry for her, having gone through so much in her life. Her parents died in a house fire, and she lived in an orphanage for much of her childhood. I can't even imagine that kind of life. But I feel like there's so little I can do for her, especially now that Lily is going to be leaving the country. Hanako and I finish up tidying the table and cues, and pick up Lily and Akira on our way out of the club. Feels like something changed between Hanako and me. I can't quite place what it is, but Hanako is acting differently now. I feel like we're further apart, if anything. So, you enjoy yourselves? Hanako and I both nod and agree. The game was good, and we both did learn more about each other, so it's an honest answer. Lily appears to be a little distracted. Worried about the trip, Lily? She pauses before sighing and smiling weakly. A little. It means quite a bit. The comment earns her a clap on the shoulder from her sister. Hanako smiles back too. You'll be okay, Lily. I hope you can enjoy your time over there. Thank you, Hanako. I'll try to. It'll be nice to be back with my family after all, no matter how brief a time it may be. With that, the four of us begin the walk to the car park where Akira's car is. We continue to talk between ourselves, but it's mostly just small talk. Right then. Are you taking the bus, Lily? Lily motions to a large suitcase standing beside her. I'll have to take this with me, so I've booked a taxi. It'll meet us at the school gates in about 5 minutes. Ah, I see. Lily reaches down and feels at the handle of her suitcase. Its weight causes her some difficulty, so I quickly offer to take it myself. That's awfully kind of you, Hisao. She has no qualms about accepting, and I end up picking it up. It's not what I'd call light, but it's not exactly heavy either. I don't think I'll have too much trouble carrying it.
Well, thank you then. We should hurry though. If the taxi leaves, then it'll take quite a while to book a new one. Are you ready, Hanako? Yeah. Let's go.
We rush to the gate as fast as we can, only to find the taxi has yet to arrive. Well, nothing like a bit of exercise in the morning. Nurse told me I should be doing that. And you haven't? You're just gonna ignore the nurse. Yeah, you're a dumbass.
I think he probably had other things in mind, Sao. And probably with more regularity. Do you intend to be helping people with their luggage every day?
I guess not. Looks like we got a bit to wait anyway. How long should we wait for the taxi before calling them again?
I would say another 10 minutes, but they've never let me down before. There's probably just a little traffic.
Okay then. So, how long is the flight to Scotland? It's gonna be long, dude.
About 16 hours, if I remember correctly. It's a bit hard to tell with the changing time zones.
Yeah, that sounds about right. That was about my travel time going to Japan. Even with the time zones. I mean, I think we left on a Friday and we arrived in Japan on a Friday. Like, we left Friday morning, arrived Friday noon. It was so weird. Surprisingly, wasn't jet lagged. Probably because I don't even think I slept on the plane. Yeah, no, I was just awake the whole time. Watching good old movies like, Dodgeball. I mean, I didn't feel bad about it. It's just, I didn't feel bad the whole time. I was just awake. Yeah, it did get incredibly boring, mind you, but still felt fine. Yeah, the other two, they definitely slept on the plane, at least for brief moments of time. Drew especially. Me? No, I'm just like wide awake, eyes open, just kind of keeping myself busy. Even paid for the Wi-Fi, so I think I could play some fake Grand Order while on the plane.
So long.
It's now that I realize Hanako's been unusually quiet, even for her. She doesn't handle stress well, so she's looking really uptight. Yeah, I can't imagine being on a plane for that long. I've only ever flown on a short family holiday up north, so it really is quite hard to fathom. Hanako spent so much of her childhood at an orphanage, she's probably traveled very little, let alone flown.
It's not too bad. I'll spend most of it either asleep or catching up on my English. I hardly use that here, so I'll need to refamiliarize myself with it a little. Will your accent be a problem? I wouldn't worry about it too much. It may be an issue initially, but I should be fine once I get used to it.
We all moved to sit down on the small bench outside the school gate in silence. Strangely enough, though, I know that Lily is going... Strangely enough, even though I know that Lily is going away, I can't think of anything to say to her. Lily is a reliable person, so it might be because she isn't the one that I'm thinking of most. Stop reminding me of her route, please. Lily might not be able to see it, Hanako's chewing her fingernails nervously. I move to talk to her, but I can hear an engine straining up the hill before I get the chance. I think the taxi's on its way.
Well spotted, Isao. I only just heard it as well.
A small wave of pride washes over me. To have noticed something at the same time as Lily must mean I've become more aware of my surroundings. Or she just wasn't paying attention. Anyway, we won't have to call the taxi company, nor worry about missing Lily's plane. Once the taxi stops where we're standing, the driver rolls down the window and leans over. After confirming that yes, Lily is the same Lily Sato that booked the trip, we sort out her luggage. The driver opens the trunk of the taxi and takes Lily's suitcase, with Lily climbing into the back seat as he loads it into the trunk and slams it shut. After getting back into his seat and shutting the doors, he waits for us to say our farewells. Yeah, that's kind of him.
Have a safe trip, Lily.
Take care of yourself. Hanako looks understandably downcast, and that much is obvious even in her voice.
Of course I will. I'll be back before long, don't worry. There will still be another person here for you too, won't there, Hisao?
Yeah, of course. I turn and smile to Hanako, putting my hand on her shoulder. She only manages to keep eye contact with me for a couple of seconds, her cheeks red all the while before turning back to Lily. See ya, Lily.
Goodbye.
Lily gives her farewells to both of us with a fair measure of reluctance. Without further ado, the driver starts the engine once more, and they begin the journey down the hill and toward the airport. The two of us stand at the gates for a long time, even after they've disappeared from sight, not really knowing what to do. So, what do you want to do?
I don't know.
Yeah, we got a choice. Either call it a day or go into the city. She's very obviously not feeling great because, you know, her best friend is just leaving for 2 weeks. So she's not really acting the same as herself. I wouldn't exactly want to call it a day, because that just kind of lets her sit and think on that. Maybe going into the city would be a good option, just to hopefully get her mind off of it, and maybe cheer her up. Yes, let's go with that. The bus stop, standing by the school gates like a mute sentinel, puts a strange idea in my mind. Do you want to head into town and look for a bookshop or something? We have the rest of the day free. It's a long shot, as Hanako doesn't like going to the city. I count the fact that we managed to get her out there, even when it was so dark, as a small miracle. But I genuinely want to spend more time with her. Anyway, she's likely to just refuse and go back to...
Okay.
Really?
Really. Let's go.
I can't work out why Hanako has decided to agree with me, but I'm not about to ask her to change her mind. Yeah, threw a Hail Mary and it worked. Don't jinx it. Stepping off the bus, I immediately noticed that a lot of people are around us. In hindsight, it should have been obvious. Of course lots of people will be downtown on a Saturday afternoon. Hanako retreats close to my side, and I can feel her hand clutching my arm tightly. Her body is held against mine, and her head is bowed so low that her hat hides most of her scarring. So, where shall we go? Bookshop? Hanako's present and my other general living expenses have pretty much drained my budget. But I should be able to afford a few books. There's something I try to reserve a few funds for anyway. There, something. I mean, cool. He at least knows how to budget. For a second, I think Hanako didn't hear me. But then I looked to my side and noticed her nodding almost imperceptibly.
Okay. Do you know of one?
Actually, I do. We passed a few when Lily and I were looking for your presents. Hanako's expression clouds a fraction. I've got to remember to stop bringing up her birthday.
You both spent a lot of time?
Or maybe I misjudged the situation. We wanted to make sure we got the right present after all. Hanako smiles and blushes a bit. It's a small treasure when she does. Anyway, there should be a bookshop just up ahead. Do you want to check it out?
Sure.
The crowds start to build as we head toward the bookshop, along the raised walkways. Hanako latches her other arm onto me as well, making our progress a little slower. As we walk, the sound of the traffic makes me think of a possible distraction for her. I was wondering, Hanako, have you thought yet about when you're going to learn to drive?
Driving?
Yeah. You're kind of lucky, in a way. There aren't a whole lot of students in Yamaku that are allowed to drive. It's not the best topic of conversation, but I want to try and distract Hanako from the situation. She's really highly strung right now. And again, all I've really done is make her feel awkward, since she's probably never thought about it. I wish I hadn't said anything. Before long, we are before one of the bookshops Lily and I passed by during our search.
Oh, what the hell?
What kind of self-respecting bookshop closes on Saturdays?
Bookshops don't make much money anymore because of the internet. Maybe they just had to close over weekends?
She seems pretty knowledgeable about technology. I guess it's a pursuit that would lend itself well to someone who enjoys solitude. Yep. Huh. I guess that makes sense. It's easier to find books online. Anyway, it looks like this idea is shot. Anything else you'd like to do?
If it's not a bother, could you show me where you bought my present?
Sure, not a problem. It's not far from here. I head off in the direction of the store, only half sure of its exact location. I don't want a repeat of last time, spending half the day walking around aimlessly. Here we are, Othello's Antiques.
It's small.
Well, yes. It took Lily and me some time to find it.
Can we go in?
I don't see why not. It's open. Hanako pushes through the door and enters before me. Once again, the store is empty, save for the store owner. His face drops a little when he sees me.
Oh, you're not here for a return, are you? Wait, that's not the girl you had with you last time.
No, we're not here to return anything. We were just in town and wanted to have another look around. Look in here. Blah. Words. The store owner considers this for quite a long time. I guess he's not used to high school students coming to his shop on a regular basis. He's amazed he remembers who the hell I am.
Might this be the friend you bought gifts for?
That's right. They were presents for her. The store owner turns to Hanako, who freezes on the spot like a deer caught in the headlights. He moves to address her, but stops before doing so, looking a little taken aback. He catches himself staring and looks to the side, addressing us indirectly. His expression is awkward and tense, as is his entire body. I want to be mad at him, but I know full well that I had the same instinctive reaction when I first saw her. First surprise, then curiosity, then an awkward look away as I dealt with what I'd seen. Hanako looks less panicked than before, but I think the feeling she's giving off now is worse. It's not anger nor annoyance. If anything, it's one of apology.
You're lucky there, young lady. To have friends that care about you as much as they do.
Thank you.
If I hadn't spent so much time with Hanako, I wouldn't even have realized she said anything. Then again, the store owner's mumble was hardly clear either, thanks in part to being directed away from us. Hanako strikes out into the store, gazing in wonder at the various items on display. She finds the dolls section and spends a lingering minute studying each and every one. It's a side of Hanako I've only barely been introduced to. I was astonished when Lily said she liked dolls, and even more so to find her collection sitting on her dresser. She looks a little better now that she's distracted and out of the store owner's sight, but I'm still quite put off by the whole experience. I might have my own problems, but I've never had strangers react to me like that, as if I was something completely alien to them.
This is a nice shop.
Yeah, it's not what I expected. Do you want to buy something?
I didn't bring any money.
I mean, this is an impromptu trip, so I'm not surprised she doesn't have any cash on her. Well, we can always come again. Now that I know where to find it, that is.
We can?
Of course. We can come here as often as you'd like.
Thank you.
You don't need to thank me. I almost forgot where this place was. I don't really think either of us completely believes in what we're saying, but rather we're just repeating what we think we should say.
Can we go back to the school now?
Sure thing. Let's go. As we leave for the bus stop, I see the store owner peek through the curtain at the back of the shop. I'm not really sure what that glance he gives to her says. It feels a bit weird, and the fact that Hanako didn't see it is both a relief and a bit frustrating. Hey Aqua, how's it going? Hanako and I stop walking once we reach the concrete area between the dormitory buildings. There was barely a word said between us on the way back from the city. crazy busy. How you been? I've been doing pretty good. Kids keeping you crazy busy, or it's just a crazy time at work and you just kind of tune it in real fast? Work, kids, puppy, all the above. Well, you managed to juggle it all. Hanako the last route before we goof? No, no, not yet. So, the characters I have all on the side, I've got two more after. We got Shizune and then Rin. And then we do goof ending. So I still got well, a little while to go before we get that piece of, I don't know, literature in a way. You know, Jen, the Kenji ending. You know, the goof ending. Yeah, that one. Let's save that one for last. Absolute last.
Well then, goodbye.
Do you want to have some tea or something? How about a game? Hanako shakes her head embarrassedly.
I... I'm tired. Maybe later? I've got homework.
She sounds a little depressed. Hanako obviously does want to do more, but I suppose she would have a bit of schoolwork to catch up on. She missed a few days of lessons. Ah, homework. Thanks for reminding me. I've got a stack to do as well. I guess I'll see you tomorrow.
See you, Hisao.
Before I can say goodbye, Hanako has turned and begun walking toward the entrance to the female dormitory building. I look at the door she disappears through for a bit before going off toward my own dorms. Today was a tiring day. Act 4. Scars. I woke up, took my pills, had a nice shower, quickly slipped on my uniform, ate a tasty breakfast, grabbed my bag, and headed off. All as per my usual daily routine. It was only after arriving in class that the normality of the day was thrown off. After taking my seat, I watched my classmates trickle into the room over the next hour, until every empty seat was eventually taken, other than Hanako's. I can never get used to the idea that she just doesn't show up to class every now and again. It feels all the more worrying now as well, given that Lily's left. As Muto continues to drone on, I find my gaze flicking every so often over to her seat, as if she might appear there any moment now. Nobody else seems to care at all about her absence, but they have little reason to. Hanako being absent from class, after all, is perfectly normal. Or at least, it was. Her attendance hasn't been all that bad from what I've seen in my time here, but it was apparently much more spotty beforehand. This is also an ominous time for her to be gone. It's the day before her birthday, and my suspicions are starting to rise, after the breakdown she had in class when it was mentioned. An increasing amount of my thoughts is taken up by how I can help her, but in the end, I feel like I can't do anything. The bell, heralding the beginning of lunchtime, rings out, shaking me out of my thoughts. A collective sigh of relief can be heard from the class, though Muto looks quite put off. He dislikes being interrupted in the middle of his exciting lectures, after all. Do you dislike being interrupted during a lesson from, like, a bell or something, Jen? Gotta get the teacher's perspective on this. Do you dislike being interrupted in the middle of a lesson? Okay. What our teachers used to hate the most was kids zipping up their backpacks right before the bell. Yeah, my teachers too. Especially in elementary, we're packing our stuff up, and they would always say the line, "The bell doesn't dismiss you, I do." Which, I mean, true. We're just a little overeager. It grinds your gears. I mean, it would too if I was in that position. Everyone's just packing up while I'm still trying to say stuff. I can see that. Yeah, easily. Even when I was doing cadet stuff or I was teaching lessons, I never actually had anything like that. Thankfully. Then again, I could just tell them, sit your ass down, I outrank all of you, you gotta listen. I could literally pull rank on them and make them sit down. Like, I don't know, tempts me to just say, don't forget the test next Thursday. Yeah, that'll get them to pay attention real quick. Wait, what? Test? Test? What test? But can't because some kids have anxiety and those aren't the ones doing the annoying. Yeah. Yeah, that's the difficult thing. Yeah, that's totally fair. Don't want to punish or cause undue stress on people that are, actually listening to you. Kids, man. Kids are just a thing. Hard to handle. But then again, so are adults. Everyone's kind of hard to handle in some facet. Just when I'm wondering what I should do on lunch break, given that Hanako and Lily aren't here, the solution presents itself. Like adults are are the worst students sometimes, especially. Oh yeah, yeah, yep. I totally know everything. Yeah, it's always good when you're trying to listen to an actual college lecture and the student thinks he knows more than the professor. But it's kind of satisfying when they get proven wrong. Just kind of a weird tangent, sort of semi-related, but not really to that. We had one of the last year's classes in college. They had us buy a workbook that we'd have to do the work in, and then they would mark it. One guy had the managed to also find the answer key, bought that, and had the absolute gall to bring it into class and just start copying down the answers from it right in front of the teacher. Oh, it gets even better than that though. When the teacher called him on it and said he can't do that, he started making an argument saying, "This is my property. This is something I can buy. I'm allowed to use this." Like he was getting into a full argument with the teacher over it. It's like, dude, what are you doing? You're straight up arguing with the teacher while you're technically cheating. It's the affluenza. It's like, oh my god, man. Like, I mean, it would have been one thing just to buy the answer key, okay, whatever. But to pull it out in the middle of class and just start copying it down in front of them? My god. Literally all of us after that, we all just like talked about it like, what the hell was he thinking? Why did he think that was ever a good idea? Same kind of entitled douche that cries, "My freedoms," with the mask. Oh man. Almost don't even get me started on that, Aqua. There was a protest the other day about just our lockdowns around here, and they're going to be having another one in the city. All the anti-lockdown, anti-maskers, probably also the anti-vaxxers as well are in there, so that's... Yeah, look it up, Jen. Yeah, I think actually tomorrow, this protest is going to be happening in the city. So, yeah, the city is kind of worrying about that. It's like, great. Now we got to deal with this. We're already, you know, it's, at least part of the city's considered a freaking hot spot, and now we've got all these people gathering. Boy, I sure hate quarantines. We should gather in large crowds and end them quicker. Yeah, during their first protest they did a few days ago, they eventually congregated in the parking lot of some local pizza place. The drivers could not get out at all, obviously, because there's just people everywhere in the way. So they lost money on what they said was one of their, you know, good days. They're one of their money-making days. And when the pizza place told everyone, can you guys just, you know, go somewhere else so we can work? They review bombed them. All because they told them to leave. So they review bombed them. Yeah, support small businesses, and they cut off business and give them 1-star reviews because they told them to get out of our parking lot so we can make money. Yeah, that's what's been going on here the past week. I kind of didn't bring that up in the Discord at all, but yeah. But not the business. Yeah, support small businesses, but not the businesses that ask us to leave so they can function. I don't understand people, like, at all. I think they're even in talks of putting a, at least they were considering a curfew now for the frickin' province. I don't know if that's still on the table or not, but that's something they were considering again. People are just being really, really dumb. And, okay, there's nothing yet. Oh. Looks like you're ahead of the game here. Yeah, that was from yesterday. Yep. Yeah, so it hasn't been announced or actually said, yeah, we're doing it. It's just, it's there. It's on the table. They could potentially do it. Because things are not going well, obviously. Important part, closing all non-essential retail, no curbside pickup or delivery, further restricting retail hours of operation, restricting curbside pickup, only permit non-essential retail to deliver, shutting down non-essential construction, warehouse and manufacturing not related to health, food, or automotive, prohibiting all outdoor gatherings for non-family members of the same household, tightening capacity of indoor events like places of worship, weddings, funerals, increasing fine, closing all non-essential... yeah. Increasing fines, increasing policing powers. Yeah, yep. that's sad that that's where we're at, because people just don't get it and want to fight against it. We are a mess over here right now. Like, this is an absolute mess. Yeah, I want to be able to go outside and go into places without a mask. I want to be able to gather around people, but I understand why I can't right now. I understand that. As much as I would like to go and see multitudes of friends in different cities, or, just go to a restaurant and sit down, I can't right now. There's a pandemic. Gotta stop that from happening. To do that, we need to follow these guidelines and rules. And it'll be over. The sooner we follow these, the sooner it'll be over. Like, I mean, I'm going on a year since my initial plan to come and visit you, for Christ's sake. Just hopefully people finally get it through their heads so this can actually be over, hopefully within a year. But I think that's hopeful thinking at this point. Yeah. She's like, come on, people, have some common courtesy. It's not all about you, it's about everybody. It's like, yeah, sure, you don't care, but think about the other people that do. Come on. Yeah. Anyway, off of that little tangent there. Actually, could I go back to the tangent? I'd rather talk about that again than deal with these two. There, I think that lightened the mood a little bit.
Afternoon, He-chan.
Hey, Mass Destruct. Welcome back. Afternoon, Misha, Shizune. You both look as bright as ever.
She-chan wants to know if you'd like to have lunch with us today.
Sure. It'll be good to have some company. The cafeteria hums with activity, much like my old schools did. Yamaku is different, though, in how strangely civilized the lunchtime rush is. Wow, that's a lot of ghosts. Fun fact, all the silhouettes on the screen apparently are just grayed out concept art for each of the girls. So yeah, while those obviously that art didn't get truly used, they at least, made some use of it. They just reused it, which is nice. It's like, we got them sitting around, let's throw them in somehow. One would expect to be an unruly mob chomping at the bit to get the serving area. To get to the serving area is rather a neat and organized line. There's a small amount of jostling, and people's heads are often craning around to check out what's happening up ahead, but it's pretty subdued. Oh my god, now I gotta watch that clip. I want to see how I actually transitioned it. Actually, the game is too loud for me to hear it. I'll watch it later. This is due, no doubt, to the very serious rules regarding such matters in this school. The same strict discipline is observed when students move in the hallways or come to and from their dormitories in the school gate. You don't need to watch right now, but it's there for you later. Yeah, I could probably put something together. I do have a fair bit of clips now. Mostly thanks to you. Again, thank you very much for that. I appreciate the clips. The reasons for it may be slightly off-putting. I've come to quite like this sense of order that's enforced in the school. I didn't really like being told by Shizune and Misha to get their lunches, though. I feel a little used as I take a seat at the table where they're sitting, plunking their food down in front of them. Sweet bread and strawberry milk for Misha, a bowl of ramen and juice for Shizune. I heave a heavy sigh of relief as I put it all down, after significant difficulty I had carrying it all, in addition to my own lunch.
Thank you!
Misha claps her hands together before popping open the wrapper and digging into her bread ravenously. Shizune simply gives an appreciative nod before giving her steaming ramen a stir and blowing on it a little to cool it down. I open my own lunch, another packet of sweetbread, and take a bite before washing it down with some juice. The bread is very sweet, so much so that I end up forcing myself to stomach it just to get the experience over with. He's also kind of just weird. He probably didn't think it through when he grabbed it all. Midway through, I decided to take a break from the difficult task and ask what's on my mind. So, I'm guessing you two had a reason to drag me down here? You two seem to always have an ulterior motive, after all.
What do you think, sir? You don't say these brushes.
Her mouth is full of sweetbread as she speaks. It's a pretty unpleasant sight. Shizune looks a little grossed out before going back to eating her ramen. I wait until Misha swallows what she has in her mouth before speaking again. You're not buttering me up to make me work with you after school?
Nope.
What's the excuse me for?
Damn it, Jen!
We'll get to Misha at some point. I mean, Shizune's route is up next, okay? Not trying to extract information from me that I might not want to give?
Nuh-uh.
Fine, you win. I guess you want to eat lunch with someone as intelligent and as handsome as me then. Don't flatter yourself, buddy.
That's it, Hee-chan. You got it.
Shizune looks unimpressed as Misha finishes signing our conversation and sucks in the last of a long noodle as she signs her own thoughts.
Shi-chan says you shouldn't be so suspicious of us. She was just doing her duty as class representative after all.
Yeah, Mass, that is in fact Jen's job. This is her job to do that and make these comments. How was she... are you doing that? As much as I hate to admit it, it looks as if I still have trouble communicating with Shizune. It should be a simple matter of keeping eye contact with her and addressing Shizune instead of Misha in my speech. When somebody else is doing the talking for her, it's a surprisingly difficult task.
It's the class representative's job to ensure that everyone's doing all right in class, isn't it?
Not really. Wait, how is making me get your food ensuring that I'll go well in class? Shizune huffs and adjusts her glasses disapprovingly. Playing Blue Skies again? Nice, nice. Enjoy it.
So this is the thanks we get for giving you companionship during lunchtime?
That's a total dodge of the question. Wait, hang on. How did you know that I...
Lily's away and Hanako is absent. And since those two are the only people you hang around with... You also made it kind of obvious to see.
Ouch. I may have well done so, but she didn't need to rub it in. Maybe this is payback for before. Start a new route, and I always have to have my poems for one specific person. Oh yeah, that's how you get on the route easily. Well, actually, that is how you get on the route. Have their poems for the one specific person. Yeah, let's hope not. Right. Well, thanks. I appreciate it, and that isn't sarcasm. The two nod, and we get back to finishing our meals. It feels a little embarrassing to be accompanied just because they noticed I was lonely, but it isn't as if they're strangers either. It isn't long before I finish the last of my bread and start on the last of my juice. And as I do so, I find my mind wandering back to what I've been thinking about before the two interrupted my train of thought. Feels like I'm the only one in the class that so much as acknowledges Hanako not being there. Felt like this the other time she skipped class, but now it's even more acutely annoying. Does nobody care if she's happy or not? Have they just written off any possibility of helping to make her better? Even Muto doesn't try to keep her in class, and I'm still not wholly convinced by his reasoning. Who's Rem?
Hey, He-chan, your juice is past its expiry date.
What?
You were pulling a weird face, like this.
As if it were needed, Misha mimics my own expression. Her exaggeration makes me grimace, though Shizune at least takes some amusement from it. I was just thinking about Hanako.
Oh?
Misha's interest is piqued, and so is Shizune's, once my words are interpreted for her. I'm just worried about her being absent so often. Especially now, though, what with her birthday coming around. The memories of that incident in class are still fresh in their minds. Their faces alone are telling that much. Do you know anything about Hanako? Anything that might help? Misha shrugs and looks to Shizune, who mulls on this for a while.
The only people she ever talked to for more than a sentence or two are you and Lily.
Got it on the second try? Cool, cool. Shizune may not be able to convey Lily's name in a derisive tone of speech, but I feel as if it comes through in her sign language. The effect is lost, however, after Misha's interpretation.
There are a couple of things we know about Hanako as student council members, thanks to the records that pass through our hands, but we can't say anything about what's in them.
Understandable. Sounds a lot like the nurse's patient confidentiality. Every time I find someone that knows something about Hanako's past, it turns up being a dead end. The only way I'll ever find out is by asking her. I don't know if she'll let me know such things, but if it's for her sake, I have to at least try.
Don't worry about it, Hee-chan. It happens every year, after all.
That doesn't remove my sense of worry at all. I still feel a little at fault for what happened in class. This feels like it goes further, even without their confirmation of the fact. Misha notes my troubled expression, her own usually happy and reassuring face dropping.
Everyone has problems you have to deal with, right, Hee-chan?
Yeah. I just wish I could help Hanako more with hers. With that, the conversation trails off on a depressing note. Eventually, Misha manages to pick the mood back up through her usual bright and bubbly antics. But my mind remains focused on Hanako. I'll go check on her later. I make sure my door is locked after dropping off my school bag. The dorms are quiet. Muto kept me occupied longer than I expected, discussing my studies after classes ended and pressing on me some worksheets to give to Hanako almost as an afterthought. Absorbed in thought, I'm late in registering the shadow that appears in front of me. Looking up reveals the owner of said shadow. Gee, I wonder who it is. Hey, man. Haven't seen you in a while. Oh. Hi. I love his dopey music.
What's with that response?
My absent-minded greeting visibly annoys him. I'd probably have had the same reaction. Sorry, just thinking about a lot of stuff.
Thinking is a pretty poor excuse for not being to not be aiding the war effort.
And how goes the war?
I am preparing. Right now, I need money to help with those preparations.
If you want me to loan you money, just say it.
No, man. I'm good.
You're good? You don't want my money.
Hey, man, don't look so surprised. It's insulting. I'm pretty big in the competitive bowling scene. But yesterday, I found some guys who didn't know that. Ah.
I'm fairly sure that betting would be against the school rules.
School rules don't matter. This is a war situation. People these days, they have no appreciation for what war means.
So what do you need this money for, dare I ask?
Non-perishable canned food.
Building materials, mostly corrugated iron and wood panels. First aid kit, camping heater,
Portable radio, sleeping bag, flashlight, mechanical clock.
At first, it strikes me as a rather random assortment of objects and materials, but after a few seconds it clicks. Isn't that a list of materials for a fallout shelter? Pretty much. Yeah, that's pretty much what he did.
Ah, so you've read a Protect and Survive booklet. It's good to see someone so knowledgeable about how to protect themselves.
You don't seriously think... It's a non-zero possibility. No, I'm pretty sure there's zero possibility of that ever happening. He slowly and dramatically raises an eyebrow. Well, as dramatically as one can raise an eyebrow. The chance is, I don't know, 0.1 to the trillionth place? It's infinitesimal. Besides, where could you build a fallout shelter anyway? Certainly not on campus. It's my summer holiday project while I'm at home. My dad said I can do it. Really?
Yeah. He thought it would improve my crafting skills and manual dexterity.
Or something. Knowing Kenji, his dad probably just thought it might keep him out of his hair for a while. Still, it does make me wonder what his parents are like. Maybe they're totally normal and Kenji is just an aberration? On the other hand, maybe this kind of paranoia and fearful survivalism runs in the family.
Hey, wanna help me build it? You look like the type to be handy with tools. If I had your help, we could make a really badass bunker instead of just a fallout shelter.
I doubt that. Playing soccer before my accident gave me good footwork, but I've never really tried my hand at anything approaching real handiwork. I'm not, really. I'm busy over the holidays anyway, I'm afraid.
A shame. If the feminists ever got a hold of the launch codes, I fear that so few will be prepared.
And your fallout shelter will protect you from a nuclear bomb explosion? In case this does happen?
A fallout shelter isn't meant to protect against the blast. It's what a blast shelter is for. I thought you knew better.
My mistake.
My home's pretty far away from any major military sites, so the fallout following a nuclear exchange is a bigger concern than the blast itself. What this'll do is keep the dust and other particulates away from me, my food, supply, and my sleeping area. It's gotta last me at least 14 days, though.
14 days is a pretty long time. It is. I need 1 liter water a day for drinking. 2 optimally, so I can wash as well. Toiletry is easy enough. Just garbage bags and a bin outside the shelter area.
Food means canned supplies, of course.
Of course. And the radio is for outside communication?
Right. So I can pick up government alerts on what's going on outside. I need a mechanical clock, or rather than an electric one, in case the electromagnetic pulse from the nuclear airburst fries it too.
Kenji, you're goddamn insane.
There's all the other stuff I need as well, like extra clothing, matches, and candles. I think I still have time to gather it all, though.
Maybe. As much as I hate to say it, I'm a little impressed. He's really researched this and thought it through. But then again, I don't know if I want to live in a post-apocalyptic world with only people like Kenji having survived. It sounds like you really know what you're doing.
Damn right I do.
It must be hard, living in constant fear like this. He hardly ever socializes either, so the fact he went bowling with others in itself is something of a surprise. This mentality reminds me of a certain someone. Thankfully, her fear of others doesn't manifest in such a distinctly eccentric way. One thing I know for sure is that I certainly can't tell him exactly why I haven't been hanging around with him much recently. I mean, he's preparing all this in case the feminists get the launch codes for the nukes. I mean, yeah, I would nuke this dude too, because he's, you know, a little too crazy to function, thinking everything is a feminist conspiracy. Again, he'd probably think the birds waking him up chirping in the morning is something the feminists are doing so to catch him off guard. Ugh. It's late. I have stuff to do. I'll think about making a fallout shelter or something, though. Yeah, alright, that's cool. A man's gotta do what he's gotta do, after all. You should hang out with me sometime, by the way. You're a cool dude. Cool dudes should hang out with each other, right? For some reason, that compliment actually feels kinda nice. The situation with Hanako being what it is, though, means I probably won't be able to fulfill his request. For now, at least. That'd be good. I'll talk to you later about it when I can. When I can. Cool. Later, dude. He retreats to his dormitory room. I'd better go see Hanako. I stand outside of the door to Hanako's room, hoping that she isn't in too much of a state as I nervously clutch the worksheets Muto asked me to pass on to her. It's one more reason to visit her, and it gives me something to talk about. So I suppose I should be thankful to him for giving me the task. With a long breath to steady myself, I rap my knuckles on the door in front of me. Silence. I listen intently for any sound of shuffling coming from inside, but I can't hear a thing. I knock on the door again, slightly harder. Still no answer. How strange. Scratching my head, I make one last attempt at getting her to answer as I knock on the door one final time. Hanako, it's just me. Muto said to give you some stuff. For a while, the attempt seems just as unsuccessful as the last. Just before I slip the sheets under her door, though, I hear the handle rattling. As the door opens halfway, I quickly try to see how Hanako's faring. It's a task made somewhat more difficult by her oversized gown hiding so much of her body. She doesn't look sick, or at least not immediately so. To be honest, I'd have preferred that to her expression right now. She looks terribly tired and appears to be barely acknowledging my presence. Hi, Hanako. Muto wanted me to give you these since you weren't in class today. I hold out the loose sheets, which she tentatively takes in her hands. The way she moves is devoid of thought. Her posture is slumped in an unusual manner for someone who's so often tense and wound up. Even her eyes keep looking away from mine, doing their best to avoid eye contact. I move my head a little to try and get a better look, but she just ends up turning away. Are you okay? If you're feeling sick or anything, I could go get the nurse. It feels almost pitiful to put on such a routine get-well-soon act. I can't think of anything else I could possibly do for her, though. She seems to collect herself a little at the notion, but only a little. Her head remains turned away, but her eyes move towards me. I'm fine. An awkward silence follows. As it lingers, I notice that the sleeves and the cuffs of her gown bear slightly damp stains. Her cheeks are a bit red too. Has she been crying? I see. I hesitate a little before coming out with the words I really came here to say. would you like me to stay? I don't have anything urgent to do at the moment, so it wouldn't be any trouble. Her eyes slide away from me, and I lose any hope for an improvement of her mood. I wait for a response, but she doesn't say anything, nor give any kind of gesture. She just stands there, looking away from me. Hanako? She slowly shakes her head. Okay. Good night then. With that, Hanako steps back and closes her door without a second word. More than a little worried, I retreat back to my room. Wandering up the hallway, I keep mulling over what happened. Felt like Hanako was only halfway there, as if I was interacting with a robot that was just doing what it was programmed to without any real thought. She was a husk of a person. This is frustrating. I had hoped that meeting Hanako would help this situation, but I feel like I've only made it harder to I feel like it's only made it harder to understand her. How am I supposed to try and help her when she quite literally shuts me out like that? I don't even bother to turn on the light, opting instead to simply change into my pajamas, quickly choke down my evening pills, and collapse onto my bed. And actually, I am going to save that there for the day. Well, we got her Act 4 cut-in picture on here now, which is nice. So, we are in the last act for good old Hanako. And she's not doing too hot. But I mean, it's to be expected. Her best friend is halfway around the world right now, and it's her birthday, which she's not exactly keen on celebrating. Add into that, just, you know, everything else we know about her, she's gonna have a bit of a tough time. Okay, so yeah, that's gonna be it for Katawa Shoujo today. Tomorrow at about 12 o'clock, I should be on for, what the heck is it? Stardew Valley? I'll let everybody know on Twitter whether or not that gets canceled or pushed back, because I could potentially be helping a friend pick something up that day, and where we gotta pick it up is like an hour away. Again, for those that didn't see it last time, I got more model kits in, so next week there will be at least one model kit stream where I build it. Got the revive of Sharzaku 2, and I got myself the Earth 3 Gundam. So there'll be at least one build stream next week for those. I'll probably build the Zaku first. Just kind of a fun thing. Last night I was playing Raft with PJ Sweaters. If you haven't checked her out, go ahead, because she's actually really great. And it was my first time playing Raft, and that was actually a really, really fun game. You just start out on like a 4x4 little boat in the middle of nowhere, middle of the ocean, and just start collecting supplies that drift towards you and building out while fending off a shark every now and again. It was a lot of fun, so I would say if you can get it, get it. If I think my internet will hold out one day, I might play that on stream. I'll see, though. There's still quite a few games I do want to play on stream. I just haven't gotten around to. I got a whole bunch of freaking games. Just going to checkity check this, and oh, I see we got someone on, so okay. Alright, well, yeah, that's about it for today. So, Stardew Valley, 12 o'clock. Tomorrow, potentially, if that changes, it'll be on my Twitter. So, I hope everyone has a good day. Thanks very much for watching, commenting, lurking, all that fun stuff. I'll see you next time.